I'm really excited to introduce my new friend Chris with you guys. He is amazing. Chris is so tuned into the present moment. He's got this incredible specialized knowledge. You are just pouring with abundance. I know I said it to you before, but Chris is awesome, guys. And today we're going to be having a conversation with Chris about the present moment. And the thing when you hear about the present moment, it seems like you can kind of brush over it. Like, okay, yeah, the present moment, I get it. But there's something else going on here. There's something amazing when you really tune into it and you really feel it. I've noticed with you that there's a really special distinction that made me want to speak to you and become your friend. And it's one thing, it's one thing to understand like all is one, you know, and you're chewing on it and you're thinking about it and you've got this intellectual understanding. And then there's the actually experiencing the power of that, like really seeing it for yourself. And I see Chris just ecstatic, laughing all the time, hugging trees. I told Chris when I met him, I thought the dude was a bazillionaire because there's something about, he seems so rich, and you are rich. You're extremely wealthy in a category that most people spend their entire lives feeling like they're missing, but not knowing that that's what it is. And I'm volunteering because it's, you know, that's the confusion that I've been experiencing. So, Chris,
Nathan,
the present moment, what do you love so much about it?
Communication.
What do you mean?
Okay. Imagine like these two different perspectives. Perspective one is my conscious mind figures out everything. Maybe I communicate with some other people and we have conscious unconscious communication, right? Perspective number two, I strive for a clear, light mind that is open to receiving and communicating with a higher aspect of myself. And it might seem a little crazy at first, but maybe like a simple example is like just like feelings, just being aware of how I'm feeling. And that I feel is a way that I'm having communication with something else that might have a bird's eye perspective, that might be able to let me know that it's best if I turn left next.
Interesting.
And then I turn left. So it could start with feelings. It could move into things like just intuitive thoughts, where with this clear mind, we're capable of hearing. If I'm just constantly thinking, before I started meditating, and then after I first started, I remember saying to my mom, I don't think I've ever heard what anybody said.
Oh my God.
And when we practice that listening and that presence of like listening to everything that's happening, and okay, if a thought comes, maybe I'll listen to that too, but then I can put that away and not throw so much energy into just thinking, like this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. And maybe just playing with the perspective of just settling and being and allowing that next step, instead of me consciously conjuring it up, to just receive it.
You can hear, you know.
Hear, feel. Some people see. It's all those different clairs.
Yeah.
So like how are we intuitively getting our messages? For me, it's feeling. It's a lot of feeling, so I can just feel like this or this, this or this. In the Bulls would say, when they had Michael Jordan, they would say one team, one breath. And that's how they would get into that flowy kind of state. And I think it is even cool when we could start to do it together.
Yeah.
We can then bring a whole group together that's really settling into that present moment.
Yeah. Wow, beautifully said. And
thanks, bro.
This community of people that we're speaking to right now, they're really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them sense energy. And I think you guys, like, come on, you feel what Chris is putting down, like, you feel his vibe. It's amazing. And you said something that I want to speak on a little bit more because it's kind of a full circle moment. Sometimes it's the difference between someone speaking, but are you really hearing them, or are you busy thinking about what you're going to say? You're already busy creating your response, so you're not really hearing them. And so many of us are seeking in our lives more. But what if life is trying to lift you up? It's trying to, but you're just not listening. And that it's like the part of you that is having problems, that's looking for the answer, you can't really get to that answer while you're still associating with the part of you that's creating the problem. You know? And
associating meaning,
identifying, believing that the self you think yourself to be is you. Because there's something else going on here. I don't know the words for it, but there's something else taking place, and it's magical. And I feel like for me personally, oh wow, look at this really that beautiful heart rock. That's one of Ruby and my synchronicities. We see heart rocks or hearts painted on trees sometimes on our hikes.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So much of what we're looking for, dare I say all of it, is right here. But while we're too busy trying to come up with our response or say what the solution is and come up with it on our own, maybe we're missing that it's already being said to us. You feel it. Some people hear it. Some people see it. I don't know what it is for me, to be honest. How, for people watching, it's actually kind of exciting. I'm glad we've come to this place. Are you a seer? Are you a feeler? Are you a hearer? If you know, please share below, because I would be excited to hear. And when did that start happening for you? But Chris, how do we get to a place, for the people watching and for myself, how do we start to discover, what are we? Are we a feeler? Are we a hearer? How do we recognize that intuition? What's that process like? Because you are damn in tune with it, man. I'm saying it because he would never say this about himself.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
So basically, how can we cultivate our intuition?
Yeah.
Well, I could say how it happened for me.
That would be perfect. And then we can connect the dots.
Because 3 years ago, I didn't really even know what that word meant. It was a foreign word to me. If I heard it, I had maybe a faint idea, but it wasn't until I became curious about the word that it started opening up for me. So it started with a deep dive, honestly, in science. And the Heart Math Institute has a definition of intuition. They have practices on how to cultivate it. And their kind of way of seeing it is they realize that our heart can receive information about things before it happens. And then they actually were able to find that scan in the heart before something happened, and that the heart would then send that information to the brain. So they've been around since 91 doing science like this. And that was the first time that I was like, okay, maybe this is like a real thing. Like science helped it kind of become a little more tangible, because it's objective and you're just seeing like, okay, this is the evidence of what people have gone through. And the way they did it, it was like, say if something like they were going to show like a scary image to somebody, then they noticed that the heart would already start producing chemicals and send waves to the brain to help us calm down to get ready for that image.
Interesting.
Or if like a happy, joyful thing was about to happen, the inverse would happen, where it would, you know, start doing. So they saw like, this is what our brain does and our heart does and our body does when something joyful happens, but can it happen even like before that thing happens? So they just kept like clicking it back, and they saw that the impulses would happen before the thing happened.
So the state that someone is in happens, and then something comes to match that state. Someone could also say, we've heard, I think actually Chris and I have both heard someone say this. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's interesting how everything's connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I'm pretty sure science has an explanation if you want to Google it on your own, but what an amazing place we live.
Mm.
And that appreciation, I mean, it's pretty natural when you're free from yourself and you're present. The appreciation, it's like a natural sense of, I don't know what it is. It just, it really puts a lot of the problems I've had in my life and a lot of the things I've taken very seriously, it puts it into perspective, you know? It puts it into perspective, because we got this human story we're playing out, and it's not that you can't also have your human story, because we see that we can. But maybe there's a part of you that could tap into that life wanting to give you all that stuff that you're asking for.
Yeah.
But we're getting in our own way. We're getting in our own way. How do we get out of our own way? How do we do that? How do you guys get out of your own way? I know you've got a really cool meditation technique you shared with me. I know I've got my own way. But let's talk maybe about that process of like, what happens before you get out of your own way? I notice that it starts with me acknowledging that I'm in my own way. What do you think?
The theme seems what we're talking about. It's in that communication piece again. And I have a silly perspective that my conscious mind, what I allow it to do is to figure out like the present moment. So to be aware of the present moment, and to, whenever I want, maybe analyze the past. And last one, to ask questions about my next steps. And then when I ask those questions, then I allow myself to feel that answer. And then I'm all in with whatever that answer is.
That's beautiful.
So I don't know if it's a getting out of my own way, or maybe it's a direction,
opening
of saying,
up to not being in your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I love that.
Telling my conscious mind, like, you can take a vacation and you don't have to figure out the how of the future. And having faith that there's an aspect of myself that has a bird's eye view that can say, turn left. And I'll just ask, I'll allow my conscious mind to ask, which way should I turn? If it's feeling left, go left. And one way that I think we can work on that intuitive aspect is if we get any messages, however it goes, when we ask and we receive, I would say just do it and see what the results are.
Mm.
And if the results start to be really good, then the next question is, am I ready to go all in with the answers that I get?
Willing to trust, willing to move forward and step forward, even though,
and ease, letting my conscious mind take a vacation and say, conscious mind, you don't have to figure out, this and this and this and this. Just ask.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Wow, you trip me out because it's just amazing to hear the things that you say. I mean, I've been...
You trip me out too, bro.
Well, thanks. I've been noticing that a lot of the magic and power I've experienced in my life, and I've had some mind-blowing things happen I never knew could be possible. And I've considered the past, just like you said, and looked back to those times and analyzed them from a this is super serious, like very just like, I wonder, with an inquisitive, childlike, I wonder what's going on there, rather than like a super serious, like, oh, why aren't things the way they used to be? But really just looking. And I noticed that all this incredible stuff that happened in my life, what I noticed was the state that I was in as it was happening and before it happened. And what state was I in? I was like open to cool stuff happening. That, like, it's simple. Like, I was open to it. And I love that you said this in this way, that maybe it's not necessarily you have to work to get out of your own way. Just be open to maybe not being in your own way. And life seems to kind of manifest and work it out for you. And I don't know what's going on there. Right? This is some trippy place we're living. I don't know, like, how these things are happening. And sometimes I want to take the toaster apart and look at all the little pieces and the little screws and how it's working, because it mystifies me and I love it. But I notice sometimes if I get really caught up in that, I forget to make toast because the toaster's all taken apart, And I like toast. I like the experiencing this incredible magic that's happening all around us. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And just letting it happen with that ease, with that childlike sense of, oh, this is amazing. It's happening for me. I genuinely feel like my world takes care of me. And I see that proved to me every single day. Even if I've got my head shoved really far up my you-know-what. The life still takes care of me. The world still takes care of me. It's incredible. And I want to take a moment to mention, too, that we've got some really cool resources tagged below that can connect you with Chris. This guy is like insane, like in a good way. Okay, he's like he's flying, and it's really cool. He's got these amazing resources. You can check out some information that's really moved Chris. That's on a site he's created below. He's put all this stuff together. You can even reach out and contact him and work with him one-on-one if you're interested. He does classes here in town. And actually has students that he teaches. I think that's pretty cool. And he actually live streams that too. So you can click onto that stuff. And there's a lot of really awesome available resources for you. And I recommend you guys connect with Chris more.
Thanks, bro.
Truth. You've got to speak the truth.
Thanks, Dan.
He said, thanks, Dan, because one of my best friends, Dan, told me, keep telling the truth. I told him about that. This life is truly amazing. And the amount of doors that open and the incredible things, I mean, the fact that you attracted me to kind of come up open to you and you were open to me and to be here in this video, I mean, there's all these amazing things happening and all these connections taking place. And there's all this information out there about, the quantum field and law of attraction. And the more I awaken, the more I see these incredible connections between all that. But I've discovered that the part of me that was looking for the answers in those spaces was missing it. Like I could hear it, but it wasn't quite hitting me. And just that being open to experiencing it for yourself seems to have done the trick for me. And now I can make those connections and see a lot of these things these people are saying is cool.
Yeah.
So would you agree? And how would you say it? I mean, you guys have got the answers within you. You've got it. You have everything you're looking for. Perhaps you just need to be more open to it. But what gets in our way of that, Chris? What is the number one thing that is stopping people from experiencing the present moment? What's the number one thing that you see as one of the biggest things that's holding people back from breaking into this incredible world? What is it?
Maybe knowledge and practice.
Mm.
The knowledge that I would say is what we were talking about with just my body and allowing my body to just take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
And not having to conjure up all of the different turns that I must take.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we have that faith in that, and I don't think it's that big of a stretch, because I know, like, if I'm doing the wrong thing, I'll start to have these feelings that will let me know that this probably isn't the right path. And if I'm doing what just seems to really be propelling my life, it feels good. So,
Yeah.
and science has already shown that there's way more scientific evidence that we're in a simulation than we're not in a simulation.
Yeah, that it's not base reality, you know? Yeah.
Base, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To explain that just with a couple more words, like, the only way that we could have a simulation is if there's another reality that can birth that simulation.
Mm.
The only way we can create GTA or Super Mario with the gravity and the physics and the characters and all that is that we have this physical reality and we're able to create that reality. So if we're seeing, these particles bouncing out of this reality and then bouncing back, it seems to make a lot more sense from a scientific perspective that this isn't that base reality. Physical reality isn't all there is, and there would be an ultimate reality.
So why aren't we having more fun? What are we doing? Oh, society, my human job. So serious. It's not that society isn't incredible, because there's so many amazing things that it offers and gives us the ability to experience. And so does having a job and relationships and pursuing your goals and even the system of money. Like, it's not that the money's bad, it's just an exchange of energy. And like, wow,
Yeah.
we could be having a lot more fun here with this incredible experience if we just, pulled a little bit back on all that seriousness about it all. When you go and you play a game, okay, I've seen some people play some video games and they're freaking out and banging on their keyboard. I wouldn't play at that point personally.
Yeah,
I would say, okay, I'm gonna take a
I've
break.
been there.
Yeah. I grew up in a gamer house, so I've seen it all. Okay. But you when you play a game, I mean, you get to explore around, you get to create a new self. And so maybe the problem isn't that we're creating a self. Maybe the problem isn't that we're experiencing one. Maybe the problem we're having is that we're identifying with it and taking it so seriously that we're missing the fun of being a self. Maybe the point of the game isn't to quit out and exit the game. Maybe it's to really be here. Maybe it's to really play. I don't know.
I love the middle way of that perspective.
The Buddha.
Yeah.
The middle path.
The middle path.
Yeah.
So on one hand, we have I am body, and we have even I am connected with a higher self. All of this one reality's perspectives. I am soul, everything here. And then on the other end, I see this whole reality could just be a dream.
Yeah.
That
So it's
this could just be characters in a dream, and it can be all wiped.
yeah.
Just like how, the characters in my dream any night could think I am super real,
And then
then
you
all of a
wake
sudden
up.
I wake up and it's like
Yeah.
So I think it could be healthy to help with that seriousness,
Hmm.
is to find that swaying, lovely balance between the two. Sometimes it could be super healthy. Maybe if I'm super getting angry about something and the way that I was treated or something like that, and just seeing the lightness, the dreaminess of this whole place, the ultimate reality of this whole place, the absolute, the base reality of this, and seeing like a why so serious perspective. That might help me when I'm there. And then maybe when I'm having a bit of a hard time of inspiring myself to be disciplined, or taking care of that thing that would help a loved one or something like that, or just being really spaced out and not being grounded here, then I can come to that other reality of, okay, I'm going to be the best me I can be in this physical reality, and finding a lovely balance between those perspectives might be hopeful.
Yeah. It's not this or that. It's this and that.
This and that.
You can have it all.
1995 plus shipping and handling.
Check the link below. Chris, you are so awesome. We've got another video that we're actually putting together, and we're going to be posting that on Chris's channel, which is brand new. And we're going to tag that in the description too, guys. So if you want to see our next video together, follow that link below, subscribe to Chris's channel, and don't forget to let us know below. Yeah, thank you. You're giving so much. You're just pouring with it, man, everywhere you go. He's awesome. And also,
we're awesome.
Yeah. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you had any questions about this or something you wanted to ask Chris, let us know in the comment section so we can reference that before we make the next video. Lovely. You guys can have that way of being a part of it. Chris, is there anything you'd like to say before we thank everyone?
Wow. Thank you, Ruby, for filming. For filming.
She's filling in. I usually film.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
It's a start to a lovely thing, I feel.
Yeah. It always is. Yeah.
It's always a start.
Yeah.
That's a lovely perspective.
Yeah. It's always the beginning.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. We have so much more to say, but I'm cutting it off on purpose. Stay hungry, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Cliffhanger.
Much love. And as Chris says,
what do I say?
Namaste.
Oh, namaste.
He said that to me once. All right.
You can tell we've planned this very thoroughly. A very detailed outline.
We're like birds winging it, man. All right. Much love, guys. We'll see you for the next video.